Hello inspiring Charitam fans. How are you doing? We bring stories that are unique and inspirational. This story is about a couple who were happily married for 20 years. But the act of transgression and infidelity broke 3 families and everyone around them. Let's hear it. Lydia was married to Ian for 20 years. They were together since adulthood. They shared their lives. It has been up and down, but they managed to hold it together. Their only son has grown up and turned out to be a responsible 18-year-old man. Everything looked perfect and Lydia was enjoying the next phase of life. They often hosted parties for their friends and it used to be super fun. Ian never really helped with the household chores but Lydia never really pushed him. She loved cleaning and maintaining the house. One day after the party, she was cleaning her house and found something very disturbing. There was a used condom in the guest house. It was odd and weird. The first thing was that she cleaned the bin a day before, so it had to be from the last day, before or during the party. She could not jump to the conclusion. She used to get really drunk, as it was her house and she always felt safe. The party would be always in the living room, so there was no way someone just sneaked into the guest bedroom. It wasn't a college party either that people would just get into rooms and have fun. All the people invited were friends and couples, so who would be that desperate to use someone else's house? She could not point her finger on who could have done this, but her husband, Ian, was on the top of the suspicion list. She did not confront anyone but started snooping on her husband. Ian wasn't a very smart man to carry out a secret affair and within few days Lydia could get into his Facebook Messenger. Bingo! Ian was having an affair with one of the friend's wife, Eva. Eva had 2 teenage daughters. Her husband was a lawyer. Her world collapsed. She was just confused that why would he do that? Eva was a friend to hers as well. She has been in the family outings and in the closed group of circles. It was way too much for her to handle. She broke down and didn't know what to do. Her son called that night and she broke down. Ian came late and found everything around the house was a mess. This was the first time he saw his house like this. He went upstairs to find Lydia, but could not find her. He called her only to find voicemails. He was worried and decided to call his son if he knew anything. That is when he realized he was busted. His son informed that Lydia knew everything about his infidelity. She was currently with her son for a few days. Ian lost it. He was yelling how irresponsible Lydia could be to leave the house like that. His son lost it and yelled back at him for being an ungrateful piece of work. He tore him down for cheating on his mother and behaving like an entitled man. It took time for Ian to understand the gravity of the situation. Lydia shared all the screenshots and information with Eva's husband. The aftermath was a supernova explosion. The lawyer husband called Ian and threatened him. Eva was kicked out and she went to her parents' place. Ian tried reaching out to Lydia, but she didn't want to speak. But after a week, Lydia agreed to come back to the house to talk things out. Ian begged and cried for his behavior. He said he was stupid enough not to address his issues like depression. Lydia requested him to go to therapy for his depression numerous times in the past. He also said how he was ashamed to betray everything they built over the last 20 years. Ian was a crying mess and said that when his son raised his voice, he understood how much damage he has caused. He cried and begged to reconsider. Lydia could see how remorseful Ian was. She told Ian that it won't be an easy path and she cannot promise anything. She still needed time to process. They both agreed that Eva would be out of his life. Ian was thankful that Lydia reconsidered her decision. He was ecstatic and promised to do everything to rebuild the marriage. But everything changed within few hours. Ian was sleeping in the guest bedroom as Lydia wasn't in any mood to share the bed with him. Both Lydia and the lawyer husband never told Ian and Eva about the source of the information. They just told them they have irrefutable evidence and pointed out their lies. They eventually confessed. That night, Lydia opened the messenger of Ian again. Holy moly, Ian and Eva were still talking. In fact, A few minutes earlier, Ian sent a message that how much he loved Eva. It was sickening to realize that Lydia has spent 20 years with the garbage of a person like Ian. She wasn't devastated this time but angry. She was angry for trusting this man yet again just hours ago. The next morning, she decided to confront him. She asked whether Ian was in talks with Eva. He outright denied it. When Lydia said some awful things about Eva and told him she knew Ian was talking to her, Ian lost it. He became aggressive and verbally abused Lydia. He yelled at her and said that he did not love her and she was a cleaning freak. Ian said he would divorce her and live happily with Eva. A crying Lydia asked then why would he promise everything the last night. He said because Eva needed some time to sort out everything. Lydia was pissed and told him that she was not going easy on him for the divorce. By this point, Ian lost his cool and slapped Lydia hard and asked her to go out. She did and went straight to the police and reported him for domestic violence. Ian was arrested with circumstantial evidence. Lydia filed for divorce the following week after consulting the lawyers. When Ian came out of the prison, he tried negotiating with Lydia on the divorce. He pleaded with her to withdraw the case and she can have the house. The assault case was going against him and he could lose his job. He apologized for his actions and said that what he did was wrong and he was already being punished. But he would have nothing if he lost the job. Lydia didn't want to see him in prison either. She decided to withdraw the case. In the divorce, he agreed to give her the house and spousal support. Eva is also headed for divorce from her husband. She wasn't apparently happy. But Ian found out that he was not the only one with whom she had affairs with. Her husband also found out there was another man from the same friends group with whom she was sleeping. That couple was also divorcing. So, in a nutshell, out of the 5 families who used to hang out together, 3 were getting divorced. Ian could not trust Eva any longer. He knew he was played by her. She needed someone to exit her marriage, and he was dumb enough to blow his own for her sake. Ian turned alcoholic after that. He lost his job eventually for his many outbursts and anger issues. Eva moved on to one of her co-workers. Sometimes, we don't realize that affairs are time bombs sitting quietly to explode. But when it does, it wrecks everything in and around. What do you think about the story? Please share the feedback and your suggestions. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to get a notification whenever a new video is uploaded. Please check the other videos in the channel too. Stay healthy and happy. Have a great rest of the day wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching.